I think we can call last season a complete wash for Darius Garland. He never really found a groove, and once he fractured his jaw, it pretty much slammed the door shut on any chance of putting together a successful season. And while most people assumed that Garland would return to form once he got healthy, I don't think many of us expected him to bounce back so swiftly and have the best season of his career up to this point. In fact, I think Garland has silenced all of the concerns not only from last season, but even the long-term ones surrounding his fit next to Donovan Mitchell. Because even with Garland entering this season fully healthy, there was still a laundry list of things that he needed to improve if he wanted to stay on the same timeline as Mitchell. And when you run down the list of things to accomplish, Garland has checked off every single box this season. He's found the perfect harmony next to Mitchell, playing with loads of confidence as one of the most efficient floor generals in the NBA today. Garland is right on the border of becoming just the 10th player in league history to join the 50-40-90 club, and he ranks in the 95th percentile this season for points per shot attempt. Right now, the Cavaliers have the second highest offensive rating in NBA history, and that offense is nearly 10 points better when Darius Garland is on the floor. In fact, Garland's impact on the Cavaliers' offense is even higher than Donovan Mitchell's. This is a complete turnaround from last season when Garland's impact was negligible as far as advanced analytics go. And when you include the context, a game in which Garland breaks even on offense is basically a game in which the Cavaliers lack the firepower they need from one of their most important players. In other words, Garland isn't supposed to float along with the rest of the team, he needs to be the tide that raises all boats. And he's doing that so effectively this season that I can't imagine how Garland doesn't get any All-NBA consideration. So to give you the full scope of Garland's breakout season, I want to focus on the three areas of the game that he has improved the most. That being his off-ball movement, playing against the drop, and his overall maturity and decision making. The first indicator that Garland has matured as a player is that he's gone from one of the least reliable clutch players to the league leader in points per possession when the game is on the line. It's easy to forget that Garland is still just about to turn 25 years old, and it's pretty common for younger guards to see the game slow down for them as they approach their primes. Most of us assume that Garland already saw the game slow down when he made his first All-Star team, but it looks like things have slowed down even further for him as Garland is processing the floor better than ever. This is most obvious when he's operating in the clutch, with Garland shooting above 65% and holding a 10-to-1 assist-to-turnover ratio in the big moments. It's gotten to the points where the Cavs have given Garland the keys instead of Mitchell at the end of games, and honestly, he hasn't let them down yet. Even against the pesky Thunder defense, Garland had no problem getting to his spot and icing the game. His dominance in the clutch has been one of the most surprising developments, but Garland's decision making hasn't just improved in the clutch, it's been noticeable in every quarter of the game. He's in the 93rd percentile in pick and roll efficiency, the 91st percentile in transition, and the 84th percentile in isolation. Opponents have had no answer for him, and that's a huge development because it previously felt like teams had cracked the code against Garland. I've covered this over and over, but basically opponents would play drop coverage against Garland and dare him to be a scorer. We saw him struggle with this in each of the last two seasons, and it's something that must have felt unnatural for Garland as he's always been a pass-first point guard. And that's why opponents could disrupt his entire rhythm by forcing him to score from an area of the floor that he never really seemed comfortable. As an undersized guard without elite athleticism, Garland is always going to be limited getting to the paint. And we saw that last season where he shot a career low 40% from 3 to 10 feet away from the basket. He really struggled to make teams pay for playing him in a drop coverage, and he was even worse at going all the way to the rim, shooting the 8th worst field goal percentage of any NBA player to record at least 750 drives last season. This has been the biggest change for Garland as he's completely flipped the table. This season he's shooting the second best field goal percentage on drives to the hoop, behind only Shai Gilgeous-Alexander for a minimum of 500 drives. and he's turned that career low percentage in the mid-range to a career best, jumping from 40% to 54% this season as his floater has become a weapon of mass destruction. Garland looks great attempting this shot in any circumstance, whether it's off the left leg, right leg, off the glass, or high over the defense. Garland can find the bottom of the net. Opponents have been helpless when Garland gets himself into the paint, and now that he's finally making himself a consistent scoring threat, it has reopened his ability to manipulate a defense and set up his teammates. Even Draymond Green recently said that Garland has become one of the best in the NBA at manipulating the help defender, because he's so great at making split-second decisions to either shoot the floater or dime up a teammate. This was a weakness for Garland last season, but now it's become one of his greatest strengths. And all the while, Garland is still applying maximum pressure on defenders to cover him on the three-point line. He's shooting 42% on nearly 7 attempts per game, making him the 5th most efficient shooter in the NBA right now. When you package all that together, Garland is one of just 5 players to average at least 20 points and 6 assists on above 40% three-point shooting this season. And if you look at the rest of that list, Garland is in pretty fine company. And so Garland is reaching the pinnacle of efficiency in today's NBA, and he's polished off every aspect of his on-ball game. But the final development I want to highlight is how comfortable Garland has been playing without the ball this season. Garland is touching the ball nearly 12 fewer times per game, and his average time of possession has decreased by almost 2 full seconds per touch. Meanwhile, Cleveland is playing at the 6th fastest pace in the NBA after placing 24th the year before. Shots are going up as everyone on the team is involved on a play-by-play basis, and that wouldn't be possible if Garland and Mitchell weren't embracing their adjusted roles and releasing some of their control over the offense. Garland is no longer permanently stationed at half court waiting to be the safety valve if a play isn't going his way. Instead, he's either diving to the corner, setting an off-ball screen, or hitting this quick give-and-go action after giving up the ball. This give and go has led to numerous easy buckets, and it's something I feel we rarely saw in previous years. And while it's hard to find tracking data that really captures the full picture here, I'd suggest just watching Garland away from the ball during the next Cavs game. And keep in mind that last year, he basically did a whole lot of standing around whenever he wasn't directly involved in a play. And this is a major credit to Kenny Atkinson, because most of Cleveland's supporting cast remained stationary when they didn't have the ball last year. But Kenny has broken them out of that stagnant approach and implemented a truly dynamic offense that has unlocked the full potential of Darius Garland. And that's pretty much where I want to end things. We are seeing the peak version of Darius Garland, and I think he's been even better than I can explain. Any way you look at it, Garland is having the best season of his career, and when you factor in the team's success, I really think he should be getting a serious look for one of the All-NBA teams. But let me know in the comments what you think. Have you seen anything different from Garland this year that I forgot to mention? I'd love to hear your takes, and finally, if you enjoyed this video, then please hit subscribe and drop a like. Those 2 things really help my channel, and I truly do appreciate it. And with all that being said, go Cavs.
Steps back and buries a 3.
Wow.
A haymaker by Darius Garland.